Here's a few movies to check out this week, currently on Netflix Instant. Horror. Sorority Row. This is the remake of the classic 1983 horror film, The House on Sorority Row. I was really surprised with this. I expected it to be nothing but a cheap knockoff of the original, and while the original is still better, I thought this one did have its own merits. It did follow the basic storyline of the sorority sisters pulling a prank that goes wrong and one of the girls ends up dead, and then shortly thereafter, someone comes back and is killing them. However, they played it a lot differently. The kills were different, the storyline was different. It does lose a lot of steam towards the end. It gets a little too silly, but still it's way better than I expected. Comedy. Kingpin. Oh, the days back when the Farrelly brothers made funny movies. I don't know what happened to these guys. They made Dumb and Dumber, There's Something About Mary, Me, Myself, and Irene, and then they moved on to things like Shallow Hal, and Fever Pitch, and The Heartbreak Kid, and The Three Stooges. I don't get it, because when you go back and watch a movie like Kingpin, it's filthy, but it's hysterically funny. And this was back in the day when you could have a PG-13 comedy movie and still have some pretty edgy jokes. It's about as silly as you'd expect. Woody Harrelson plays a young bowler who gets his one hand cut off, and his entire life goes down the crapper. So he finds a young Amish kid, played by Randy Quaid, who is this amazing bowler, and he wants to train him and become his manager as a way to reclaim his former glory. I just watched it again recently, and it's still funny, which is more than I could say for pretty much any of the later Farrelly Brothers movies. TV. MacGyver. Since everything's being rebooted or brought back from the dead, they just recently announced that MacGyver was coming back to TV, although it's going to be a reboot, not a continuation like they're doing with the X-Files. For anyone who hasn't seen the show, Richard Dean Anderson plays MacGyver, a secret agent who is an absolute genius and uses his mind and creative powers to figure out a way to get out of just about any situation. The earlier seasons are the best. It gets a little silly later on, but it's still fun to go through them and see what kind of crazy shit he comes up with. I don't know about the reboot. I don't think they're going to be able to recapture the charm that the original had. Horror. Exeter. What do you want out of me? It's October. There's going to be a lot of horror movies. I wanted to watch something the other night. This popped up as one of the new releases, and the concept sounded cool, so I figured I'd check it out. It's about a group of teenagers that are having a party at an abandoned mental facility, and they inadvertently release an evil spirit. To top it off, they try to contact the evil spirit with a Ouija board. So immediately it ups my creep factor. Nothing new, but they did a good job with it. The story was good, the actors were cool, there was a little more CGI blood than I would have liked, and there were a couple of moments that I did not see coming. The biggest of which was after the movie ended, it announced who directed it. Marcus Nispel, who up to this point, everything that I've seen of him has been absolute crap. So kudos, after crapping out the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake of Friday the 13th, the remake of Conan the Barbarian, he finally makes an original movie, a derivative horror movie, but still an original horror movie, and it ends up being good. That's all I got for this week. I'll see you next time.